Go.
Huh. A library contest? The world's most famous game maker invented it? Mr. Lemoncello? There hasn't been a library here in Alexandriaville for 12 years. Our age, our class, top 12 kids who will write an essay get to sleep overnight at the opening night of Mr. Lemoncello? I gotta do this. It'll be amazing. But every kid in the class sees me as that nerdy kid who just sits in the corner and reads books. This time I'll show to them that I can be super fun. But all the cool kids will be there, like Kyle, Akimi, Haley, Miguel, Charles. This will be the time that I show them that I can do this. Now, as a reader of this book, what I completed, Escape from Mr. Lemoncello's Library, written by Chris Gavenstein, it's not getting into the library, it's getting out. The plot of the story is not just that. When they realize that they're staying in to sleep overnight, when they get up to do their daily routine in the morning, they realize they can't get out of the library. They're stuck in there. They're trying to get out. Whoever wins the contest gets to stay there, be famous with Mr. Lemoncello on TV, just with him on commercials, representing all his fun games that he invents. Now, I'll read a small glimpse of the story, which is right before Mr. Lemoncello is going to announce the top 12 kids going to read the essay. Over on the side of the stage, a shoe that looked like a peeled open banana appeared from behind the curtain. When it landed, the shoe burp squeaked. As a second banana shoe burp squeaked onto the floor, Cal looked up. There he was, Mr. Lemoncello. He had a loose and floppy limbs. He was dressed in a three-piece black suit with a bright red tie. His black, broad-brimmed hat was cocked at a crooked angle atop. His curly white hair. Kyle was so close he could see a sleigh twinkling, sparkling in Mr. Lemoncello's cool black eyes. Treading very carefully, Mr. Lemoncello walked through the podium. The burp squeaks in his shoes seemed to change pitch, depending on how hard he landed on his heels. He added a couple of little jigs, a quick hop, and a stutter-step step. And yes, his shoes were squeaking a song. Pop goes the weasel. On the pop, Mr. Lemoncello popped behind the podium. The crowd went wild. Mr. Lemoncello politely bowed and said very softly, "Thank you, grazie, grazie." Bent forward so his mouth was maybe an inch away from the microphone. Buongiorno, boys and girls. He spoke very timidly, very slowly. This is how Mama and Papa teach me to speak the English. He wiggled his ears, straightened his back. Then he said in a crisp voice, "I went to the Alexandriaville Public Library, where a wonderful librarian named Mrs. Gail Tomlin helped me learn how to speak like this. If two witches were watching two watches, which witch would you watch which watch? I can also speak upside down and underwater, but not today. I just had the suit dry clean and do not want to get it wet." Mr. Lemoncello bounced across the stage like a happy grasshopper. "Now then, children, if I may call you, which I must because I have not yet memorized all your names, even though I'm working on it. What do you think is the most amazingly incredible thing you find inside your wondrous library? Besides, of course, all the knowledge I need to do everything you ever want or need to." That's just a small glimpse of how funny this story is. But if I had to say I was like one character, I wouldn't say I'm like one character or dislike. I have a whole bunch that I sort of represent. Sierra Russell, the person I was just acting out. She loves to read. She's at the side of the stage, always reading. I don't always read, I'll admit, but I certainly do love to read. Second, Kyle Keeley. He broke his basement window just so he could beat his brothers at a Mr. Lemoncello game. Now, can I say competitive? Yeah, that's me. And then third would be Haley. She's a cheerleader. I'm not into cheerleading, but she does have clever ideas. She put a clue in her shoe because she didn't trust her teammates. She thought she was scamming her, so she outwitted them, and in the morning she went to a different team. What a smart decision she made. Now, if I had to recommend this book, I would recommend it to people who enjoy mystery, adventure, or thriller books. Now, for the project part of my presentation, I made a travel brochure to the setting of the story, which is the library. I did directory, what's on the first, second, and third floor, a blueprint, and the hours of operation. There's also this paragraph that describes the library. Do you like to read? Are you interested in art, historical artifacts? Maybe you'll like the theater or movies. Then you must come visit the most magnificent library of all time. Mr. Lemoncello, the world's most famous game maker, created a world-class giant library that challenges all your knowledge and interests. Come on down and visit Mr. Lemoncello's library.
Students to the office, please.
Now, if you like to read this book, it's a very interesting part. The end of the book totally hooks you to the end. You must come see the end. It's filled with the most amazing things of all time. Thank you.